beautiful view. Hello. I'm just posting a story here to let everyone know on Instagram that we're live. If you're here, say hi in the chat. Throw on my headphones here. Okay, connecting up. All right. Going live. I'm really excited. The link is in my bio. It's on my YouTube channel. Just gonna read a little bit, talk, have some fun, and probably go live for about an hour or so and then see where it goes. It's time. I'm going live on my YouTube channel. The link is in my bio if you want to come join. Probably hang out on the stream for about an hour or so, just reading, and then chit-chatting, talking about what we're up to this weekend. And then I'm going to get a move on my 24-hour readathon. Hey, Kim. It might just be you and I, who knows? But I'm okay with that. I just sent out my story, so I am just kind of giving everyone a minute. It's not showing there's anyone in here, but Kim, I can see you're in the chat. So I'm not sure if there are people watching or not, just like literally watching me wait. But since I can see you're here, what are you reading? Are you reading The Good Girl's Guide to Murder? Yay! I just finished. I think I'm on chapter 22 now. Yeah, I just finished chapter 22, and it's like the bombs are starting to drop. So I'm like really enjoying it. I'm going to dive into Kingdom of the Curse though, because I have been awaiting this book. And I've been like prolonging it and waiting to read it until my readathon. So I'm going to probably stay up all night. Yes, yeah. So I completely understand. I find that I'm actually not as productive with reading over the weekend because I'm doing so many things for Instagram. So like I find that I'm spending my entire weekend like writing, like catching up on posts, writing up reviews for books that I read during the week. And now I'm trying to do the reels because I have one reel that like is at 30,000 views, which is like crazy for me. So I feel like that is encouraging me to do more of them, even though I have no idea what to do for any of them. So I think I have the chat set for a delay. So let me just remove the delay. See if I can. Yeah, there might be a delay. Oh no, there's no delay. Okay, good. Okay. Yeah, so I'm like a little bit into the second chapter, so I think we can yeah, reels are super intimidating. It's just like it's one of those things where you know, you feel like you nail it and then you post it and it gets like no views and you're like, "Oh, okay, that wasn't as funny I guess as I thought it was." And then you have to like kind of figure out the algorithm too, which is like a whole beast in itself. And I honestly think that that's the only reason why my one reel ended up like crazy boosting is the new algorithm. Like I'm noticing on my feed now, it's not all just pictures. I know they announced it a while ago that Instagram was going to be changing from like an all photo kind of platform, and they're transitioning it into being more of a video platform. And I didn't notice any of the changes until well, really until that weird outage happened on Monday, I think it was. And now my feed, like every other post on my feed, is a reel. So I think that's the only reason why mine ended up doing so well is because somehow it ended up getting into the algorithm. So I'm not mad about it. But yeah, it like you know how Instagram sometimes does do it phases it out in different for different people. So I remember when the captions started, I would say maybe half of the people that I actually interacted with on Instagram had the caption ability for their stories. And then I remember I did, and everyone was messaging me how I got it. And I was like, I have no idea. It just all of a sudden showed up. So I think it will probably roll out similarly to like the new formatting, but I definitely have the new formatting, I think. We'll see. So it's good that you're getting on board with the reels because it'll end up, I think, becoming most of the feed that shows up. Yeah, see, that's what I mean. I only just started getting mine this week, but I know they had mentioned, um, gosh, I wanna say at least a month ago that they were changing the formatting of Instagram, that it was gonna be like a complete video because they're trying to compete with TikTok, right? So it'll be more video centered. So we'll see. I think like as long as like you can yeah, as long as you can kind of roll with the punches, I think that that's fine. I think the funny thing too is with Bookstagram, um the medium of videos can be incredibly intimidating because most people that are big readers are shy people, and so putting themselves on camera, and talking and goofing off and stuff maybe isn't something that they're comfortable with doing at first, so they have to kind of get out of their shell. I'm fortunate enough that I'm already really weird, so it's not a problem for me. But I know quite a few of my friends that are big readers are they're wallflowers, so it's hard to kind of branch out of being able to take beautiful pictures of their books and of their libraries and transition that into themselves. Hmm. Okay, so see a few more people are in the chat here. If you're here, say hi in the chat. You do have to be subscribed to chat. So if the chat's not working, you probably just have to subscribe. I just do that because I have had friends that have done lives and random people pop in and they just start spamming the feed. So I'm trying to prevent that from happening so we can have just like a chill night. We're only going to be here for maybe an hour or so. And we'll do some reading sprints. So if you're not familiar with what a reading sprint is, basically like we're going to chit chat a little bit more, and then we're going to just dedicate some time to just read together. Pretty straightforward. And then once the reading sprint is done, we can kind of talk about what we're reading and what we have read. So yeah, I think now might be a good time to jump into it. I'm really excited to start reading some more Kingdom of the Curse because I got about because I started reading this just before work and I lost track of time. So I'm like halfway through a chapter and halfway down the page. So I'm really excited to read it. But yeah, it's about quarter after now. And I think maybe we'll read for like a half an hour or so. If that sounds good. And then we'll come back. Feel free to chat in the chat. Like I can pop in and chat in the chat as well, but I won't say anything on the mic. Okay, cool. We're back. I was losing my mind on this one chapter. It was like, I forget like the wording of it, but like when you get embarrassed for someone else because someone does something really embarrassing, that's how I was feeling in that moment. I was like laughing so hard. Yeah. It's so like if you haven't read Kingdom of the Wicked, I definitely recommend reading Kingdom of the Wicked because it's a really great story as it is. It was marketed as YA. The second book is definitely marketed as more of a new adult just because of the themes. So it was only chapter 2 and it was getting very steamy. But there was like a little surprise is the best I could say without spoiling it. But yeah, it was really funny, and so that's why I was laughing so hard because I was like, "Ooh, I'm blushing," and then the next thing is one of those moments of a complete embarrassment for Amelia, who is the main character. But yeah, I'm like pretty positive I'm gonna stay up and read this as late as I possibly can. I am doing a 24-hour readathon, so I'm going to try and do a full 24 hours between 10 o'clock tonight and 10 o'clock tomorrow night. We'll see how well I do. I feel like you would understand. Yeah. Definitely, like if you do read it, DM me, like message me. I'm for the DMs talking about all things Kingdom of the Wicked. But yeah, I'm in my 30s. I feel like you both can understand this, that staying up late isn't as easy as it used to be. And not because it's hard to stay up late, it's hard the day after staying up late. You feel like you've been hit by a bus. So we'll see how I do. But yeah, it's a really good book. I've like, even though I'm barely in, I'm really excited to read it. I get really enthusiastic about books, period. But when books are really getting me, or when they make me laugh, like it's usually when books make me feel something. If I read a book and it doesn't make me feel something, that's usually when I don't give them great ratings. Even if even if the writing is well done. I'm an emotional person, so I like being able to feel the feels. I'm just going back. So yes, see, okay. So I find it so hard to not stay up when I'm into a book. Like with television shows and with movies, I have no problem. Like even like Bear My Fiance, he laughs at me because I'll just get up. We'll be watching TV or watching a movie, and I'll just decide I'm going to bed. I'll just get up and leave and go to bed. But with books, I just can't. And I think maybe part of it is because I'll read in the living room and then I'll move to the bedroom and I'll read in the bedroom. So I'm already in bed. So I feel like it's more acceptable. And then, you blink and it's 2:00 in the morning. It's an issue, especially in the week. During the week is the worst. And I'm in a position in my job where most of the time I'm 9 to 5, but on weeks like this week, I'm working 2 to 10. So I excuse myself for staying up late because I finish work at 10. So in my mind, I've already been up all day. I got up in the morning at a normal hour. So I read all morning, but then I feel like it's acceptable for me to stay up in late at night. Kim, you can't see your responses to Chelsea's messages. Okay. My responses were really just talking about my embarrassment for the main character because I was losing my mind laughing. It's one of those things where, you know, it's very hyena-y. When I'm uncomfortable or when I'm embarrassed, I laugh, and I felt so embarrassed for this character. So I was laughing and losing my mind. And so Chelsea had said, you know, it's a good book when you're laughing. And yeah, I was laughing real hard. I have not read Crescent City. I haven't read any Sarah J. Maas books at all. I have A Court of Thorn and Roses. I do have that book. I think I might try to read that book as part of the Rovers readathon. I was like been wanting to read it for a scary long time because I've had it in my TBR since probably July, and I resisted that long. Can you see the responses now, Kim? I didn't want to go on mic while I was reading. Oh, okay. So I'm an easy crier. So one thing to know about me is I cry. Well, like I said, I'm an emotional person. So I cry over literally everything. I cried reading, what was the book that I just finished reading? Oh my gosh. K.A. Tucker's book. Simple Wild. The whole last third of the book, I cried the entire time. Yes, exactly. I cry when I'm happy. I cry when I'm sad. I cry when I'm angry. So it's really fun when like I get into an argument and I'm crying. And it's not because like I'm upset. It's just that's how my body reacts. I cry when other people cry. So if I see other people crying, I cry. It's just a thing. It is what it is. I've embraced it. I used to be really embarrassed about it. Oh my gosh. I was a mess during Evelyn Hugo. I was a mess during Daisy Jones. I cried during Daisy Jones as well. Um, I used to be such a glutton for punishment, and one of my favorite authors when I was a teenager was Nicholas Sparks, and I would only ever read him when I wanted a good cry because I knew I would get it. I don't read him anymore, but I used to read all the time. Yes, exactly. We have to accept it. It is who we are. We are who we are. Can't apologize for who we are and embrace it. See, and that's how you know it's good writing, Kim, is when you're not a crier and it still gets you. It's like it's one of those things. So I'm like the crier in all my friend groups. Most of my really close friends are very like baseline mellow people. Even my fiance Bear is very mellow. And I think I want to say so my one best friend, I've known her for over 15 years and I've maybe only seen her cry 3 or 4 times. But I don't think she could count how many times she's seen me cry. Okay, I've never read Charlie St. Cloud. I did see the movie in theaters, but I didn't cry. The reason why I didn't cry is because we went for camp. So I was a camp counselor and we went to go see the movie with like our kids. So I worked at a camp for teenagers with disabilities. So some of them were as old as 21. And we went and we saw Charlie St. Cloud. And I was getting emotional, but I was like, don't cry in front of the kids. It was awful. Yes. Cemetery Boys. What's Cemetery Boys? I've never heard of that one. Yes, I am also okay, so I'm a big crier in general, Kim, but I'm also a sympathetic crier, especially if you get good music in there because the music, ooh, when the music is good, when the score is good, when they've got a good soundtrack, when that hits, it can do things. I actually fun fact, I love Hans Zimmer, who is the composer for a little known movie you might have heard of called The Lion King. He did the score for it. Elton John did the soundtrack, but he did the score. And I went to see him live, and I think I cried for probably half of the concert. Just because the music gets you. Yes. Exactly. It does set the tone. You could literally have the most bland conversation in a movie, but you have the right soundtrack and it makes it. Yes. I think one time I went to see, so we have this band here in Canada called the Tenors. They used to be called the Canadian Tenors. Now they're just called the Tenors. And they did a concert, and they do all kinds of music, but they do a lot of classical and opera and stuff. But they did sing "Bring Him Home" from Les Mis. Sobbed. I was the young. I went with three of my friends, and we were the youngest people there. We got floor seats because we just love music, and we were all just like so emotional. Yeah, we were like sobbing. These like adults. I think we at the time we were in our early 20s. Um, and I would say the median age of the people at the concert had to be at least 50. So we were significantly younger than a lot of the people at the concert, and I'm just like sobbing. What? Okay, it's a long movie. It is a very, very long movie. It's incredibly depressing, just to set the stage here. But it is a beautiful story. It is a very beautiful story. The music is really great. I had a roommate in college who had the PBS version of it. So it was like the PBS recording of like the Broadway musical. And she would watch that on a weekly basis. It was like a running joke in the house when she would throw Les Mis on. Like it was a cassette tape, and it was in like one of our spare bedrooms. She would watch it on those old TVs that had the VHS player attached to the TV, and she would always play it. And you'd always hear like the marching drums playing, and it's like, oh, she's watching Les Mis again. It's a good movie. It's just long and it's really sad, so you have to be in the mind space. I saw an article a while ago. I feel like any kind of live musical would be way better than the actual movie, for sure, because it's the experience. I saw an article when they had just finished. I think they had finished wrapping Les Mis, and it had already come out in theaters. And there was like a body that had like floated onto shore, and it was this huge news article. People were like calling it in that there was this like body floating in the lake or the ocean or the river, I don't know, in France. And it turned out that it was just a mannequin that they had used for Javert's part, which was Russell Crowe's character. He like dies in the movie. Spoiler alert, he dies. And so they threw like a mannequin into the water for the scene, but they didn't collect the mannequin. They just let the mannequin float off. And so people were like, there's a body in the ocean, but it was just a mannequin. Do you not have like any local like theater groups or anything like that? So like I live maybe an hour away from Toronto, so we can go to Toronto to go see like it's Mirvish Theater, which is like the Toronto Canadian version of Broadway. And their productions are really good, but we also have like a smaller um like local production, like theater company in my town. And they have like it's not right. Could you imagine seeing a body floating and it's not even a body? But yeah, they have like they do like play. Obviously, it's not quite to the extent of a Broadway musical or even a Mirvish theater is high up. It's really good. But they're pretty decent. I went and saw, I've seen quite a few musicals there. I've seen Kinky Boots was really good. I saw that at Mirvish at theater. Sound of Music several times. It is my favorite musical, so I've watched that several times through like the live musical. What else? Wicked. Wicked was really good. Wicked is one of my favorites as well, I would have to say. I would love to see an actual show on Broadway. I've been to Broadway. Like we used to do a trip to Florida because it was like a two day drive into Orlando. And the last time we went was my last year of college. So I was like 23, 24. And we decided we were going to totally detour and go to New York City because none of us had been to New York City. And we walked through Broadway, but we had never actually seen anything. And I really want to. Yeah, so Wicked is by, oh gosh, I'm trying to remember his name. He's written a few books that are like the Wizard of Oz kind of atmosphere, and I forget his name. The Lion King. Yeah, that would be a good one. Newsies. I don't think I've seen Newsies, but I have seen it on Disney Plus. I didn't watch it, but I saw it advertised on Disney Plus. And I think who's in it? Christian Bale, is he in that? I think so. From like the 90s. But yeah, the crowds are ridiculous. I can't believe I used to live in Toronto. Yeah, so I have no idea. Yeah, well, like, they do travel companies, right? I think that's what it is. Like, they do, um, I think it's called companies. Like, they travel and they do their productions and stuff. There's one that so because I live so close to Toronto, we go to shows all the time. I got, notified for the Toronto Symphony Orchestra, and they're doing a, Home Alone production at the beginning of December where they play the Home Alone movie, but the symphony orchestra plays the entire soundtrack, which is I think it's John Williams that does the soundtrack. Who John Williams did um, Star Wars, did Jurassic Park, um, Jaws, pretty much any like huge film. Yeah, so like I was talking to a couple of my friends because hopefully it'll still be open. Who knows? Everything's still kind of strict here in Ontario as far as like what we can do. So we'll see come December if it'll still be going. But I think that'd be a lot of fun to do. I love John Williams as well. So I think that'd be a lot of fun to see the orchestra live. I think that's also what I love about the musicals. Oh my gosh, yeah. If they did Jurassic Park, that'd be so good. They are doing another one in Toronto, I know, in I want to say February or March for Star Wars. So they'll play I think they're playing um A New Hope, and they're gonna do the orchestra on top as well, which would be cool. But I think that's what I like about the musicals too, is because it is live. Like they're not singing to a track, like they're singing to a band. Like a band is playing underneath the stage, which is just so cool. The whole production of it is just the coolest thing. I think that's why I like Sound of Music, because they construct this whole stage to look like the hills of Austria, and then it moves like it's on hydraulics and it moves while she's singing The Hills Are Lives. It's so cool. Oh yeah, that what is that? Cursed Child? Is that what that is? That one was really big, I know, in the West End. And I think we're getting Hamilton as well. It was supposed to come last year or maybe the year before that. And obviously, with COVID, everything got shut down. So it's been totally delayed. So it hasn't even been in Toronto yet. But I know because I was searching on the Mirvish website, as one does. And I did see that we're getting Hamilton as well, which I watched the recording of it on Disney. But that would be kind of cool to see as well live. I love that you guys are like also into the musicals. Yeah, I loved it on Disney. I watched it. I think there was a time because it came out last year, I want to say. So we had just started working from home, and I wasn't set up in the office yet because Bear actually worked from home even before the pandemic. So the office was his. And we had to like completely redo it all to get me in because we didn't know whether or not I'd actually be staying at home. But now I'm working from home permanently. So I worked out of the living room, and I would just play it while I was working. I wouldn't even watch it. I'd just be listening to it. And that was fun. Yeah, I didn't, so working from home was always an option with my company. But I never wanted to because I really liked being in the office. I liked being able to talk to people and the social aspect of it. And then once we all got sent home, I thought I would struggle, but I actually love it because I can roll out of bed, make myself a cup of coffee, and go to work in my pajamas, and then change, get ready halfway through the day or whatever if I want to. I can make my dinner, make my lunch in my own home, and it's nice for like days like today where I worked until 10 o'clock at night, and I don't have to drive home. It's really nice in the winter because we get really bad snowstorms in the winter because we live near a lake. So we get a massive lake effect during the winter. So it gets very, very cold and it snows a lot. So it's nice to not have to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to shovel the driveway and clear off the car and just stay nice and warm. Yeah, definitely a lifestyle change. It's been nice though. And what's fun too is that like I know you live in Florida, Chelsea. It's like, what's winter? You know what? There are times where I wish that I could just pick up and never have to deal with winter again. But because I grew up with I feel like I would miss it, especially during Christmas. There's just something about having a white Christmas that you just can't. You don't want to lose that. I don't know. Maybe in 20 years I will become a snowbird like all their other retirees in Canada, and I'll celebrate Christmas with the palm trees. Florida's not bad though. We used to do so my aunt and my uncle, they're in their 70s. They're like approaching 80. And they're in Clearwater, St. Petersburg area. It's nice there. It's really nice there. But I do know the summers can be really bad. I had a friend decide that they were going to go to Florida to go camping in May, which is I think hurricane season. I think there, and they lasted one night, and their entire tent got flooded, and everything was just soaking wet. We usually go in February, March, so it's cool, I think, for you guys, but for us Canadians, like 21 degrees Celsius is hot. Oh yeah, it gets humid here. Like that's mostly like our summers are not dry. Our summers are very, very humid, but we will get like this past summer, for example, we had maybe 3 or 4 weeks of hot weather, and the rest was kind of cool and wet. We get I would say probably like end of June, July, and August are usually our like hot months. And then September it cools off. By Halloween, we usually start getting snow. You're running a marathon in Disney? What? They have marathons in Disney? That's actually really cool. So like wait, like do you go to like Magic Kingdom and just like run around? Like not like run around. Obviously it's a marathon, so it's there's a trail. But Kim. No, like where in Disney is it? Like do you go to like all do you hit up all the parks? Is that what happens? Or I've never heard of this. Does it not get cooler in December, Chelsea? Okay, that is really cool. Like hit up each of the parks on your marathon. That is really neat. That's such a cool idea. Well, clearly I'm not a someone that runs marathons, so I wouldn't know that. When I go to Disney, I go to Epcot so I can eat around the world. I go to obviously Magic Kingdom because I'm a freaking princess. And I have not yet been since they've done up Pandora, and I have not been since they've done all the Star Wars stuff, which I would really love to do. That's so exciting, Kim. That's your first time going to Disney and you're running a marathon. That's so cool. Yeah, so from my experience in Florida, the weather is so wonky. It's like really, really nice weather. It'll rain for 20 minutes and then it's gorgeous and beautiful again. It's not like that in Ontario. It'll just rain for a week. Yeah, I definitely wanna come back. I think that's one thing that Bear and I have planned is we wanna do a Disney trip, as adults without children. I don't know if that will happen because of the pandemic. But Bear's never been to Disney, and I've been a few times. I went actually when I was a kid, I went the first summer that they had um, Animal Kingdom. So that was fun. And then the last time I went, I was, I think, 24. So it was a while ago, almost 7, 8 years ago. So a lot has changed since then too, but I definitely want to go back. Yeah, we did Universal too. So we only did the last time we went because we were trying to cram in as much as we possibly could. I think we spent 3 or 4 days in Orlando and then we went to Miami and we did a day at Disney and we did a day at Universal. And that was my first time going to Universal and that was so much fun. We went to the Mummy ride. That blew my mind. That was, I think, my favorite ride. I think it was just the fire. It was such like a shock, and then I think the shock value of it, we were all like oohing and aahing over it. So I think that's why we liked it. But I mean, the Mummy's a classic. Yeah, so I want to say a lot of stuff was closed when we went, and I want to say they had started to tear down the Jaws ride. So they still had the shark there, but the ride wasn't on. Like the ride wasn't running. So we couldn't do that or anything like that. And I think I want to say the Lorax had just come out. So there was a lot of Lorax stuff. But I think that's one thing that I really like about those places is that they do keep it fresh. We have what's it called? An amusement park in Vaughan. And it's pretty decent. There's a lot of roller coasters, but it's not really fresh. So, they try to do a new ride every year, but sometimes the new ride is a kid's ride where it's like Scooby-Doo. So it's not as fun. But when they do like the huge roller coasters, so I love roller coasters. Those are really fun. We used to do seasons pass for Canada's Wonderland all the time. It used to be Paramount Canada's Wonderland when I was a kid, which was even better because everything was themed to Paramount movies. And now it's weird because I'm used to referring to all these rides based off of their Paramount films, and now they've renamed them. So there was a film, Top Gun was one of the rides. Now it's called Flight Deck. It's so weird, but I don't think anyone that grew up going to Paramount Canada's Wonderland calls it anything but Top Gun, which is the same with like a lot of things. So in Toronto we have the Sky Dome, which is we all call it the Sky Dome, but it's been renamed as the Rogers Center, but we still call it the Sky Dome. It's weird. What is Epic Universe? So like is that within Universal Studios? It seems like it would be fun. It is a much better name. I feel like that was the name all through the 80s, and then in the last 15 years, Rogers bought it out and it became the Rogers Center. So it's just going to be called like Epic Universe. It's not associated with Universal Studios. I feel like it will be roller coasters because it's called Epic. It has to be. See, you guys have like some of the best little amusement parks. I would love to go to Dollywood. I think that'd be a fun one to go to. I feel like that's the type of park that you can only really go to once, but I would still like to go to regardless. But I would for sure like to go back to Disney. I feel like too I'm a little self-conscious about the whole Disney thing because now everyone says that millennials that love Disney are chuggy, and I just don't want the Gen Zers to make fun of me. Oh, actually, that's really cool. I have um I have a 7-year-old nephew. He's gonna be 8 next month. He's obsessed with all things Mario. He plays Mario Kart like crazy. I remember we got him like a Mario Kart themed bedroom set last year or 2 years ago, and he lost his freaking mind. I love that. You just went alone on your birthday. I love that. I love that. Is it in Tennessee? Is that where it is? Because that's not too far, right? I'm trying to think because we drive through Tennessee in order to get to Florida, and it's not usually a long drive. It's just driving through Georgia is such a pain. You're driving and driving, and you'll drive 8 hours, and you're still in Georgia, which is basically what it's like to drive through Ontario. Pigeon Forge. That's a place in Tennessee. Pigeon Forge. That's where it is. I feel like this needs to be added to my bucket list. We did in our like last road trip when we tried to do our drive to Florida and we did our detour in New York. We also did a detour in Nashville for like a half of a day, and we got lost a lot. So somehow um this was before we could you'd pay $7 a day to roam in another country. And we were all cheap students, so we didn't do that. We had our phones shut off and we used a GPS from one of my friend's parents, but they weren't updated. And we ended up in Washington. So I thought, so it said Washington, and I was like, it must be like Washington, Indiana or something. And sure enough, we come through a tunnel and we see is it the Lincoln Memorial, that big tower? We got real lost. We ended up in Baltimore. I had to go and like ask for directions in a Baltimore Kentucky Fried Chicken because we couldn't find anywhere to ask for directions. It was like such a weird road trip. Okay, but I love that you went to Disney alone, Chelsea. That's the coolest thing. I feel like that would be something I would do. Washington Monument, thank you. Yeah, it was an experience, let me tell you. That was driving there. We got lost. We the place that we stayed at in Orlando, we got off of a Groupon, and it was called Cypress Point Villas. And we showed up to this place. It was called Cypress Point. It was gated. They let us in. We were like showing them our printed out Groupon, and we got in. I got out of the car. At this point, we've been driving for 36 hours without stopping. So like I'm wearing the same outfit I've worn for 2 days. I smell like sweaty car. I roll out of our little I think we were driving a Hyundai Elantra in this bougie ass hotel. I walk into the lobby, there's wild tropical birds flying through the lobby, and there's this huge lineup to like the concierge or whatever. And then I see a really short lineup. So I'm like, I'm going to go there. I'm sleep deprived as well because I've been up for 36 hours. And then I see it's like a little silver plaque that says VIP. So only like the VIPs are supposed to be checking in. So I like hand them my little Groupon thing and I'm like, oh, like we're trying to find this place. Like, is this not Cypress Point? She goes, no, this is the Cypress Point Hotel. You want to go to the Villas, which is just down the road. So we go down the road, we bring our little printout of our Groupon, and we show it to the next people. And they're like, no, this isn't us. And so at this point, we're like panicking that we've paid this Groupon that's fraudulently claiming to be this other hotel place. And so we started asking the like, what is it? The valet. The guy opens the door for me and I go, thank you, sort of like tipping him. And so I said, we're looking for this place. Is this not the Villas Cypress Point? He goes, no, this is the Villas of Cypress Point. You want to go to Cypress Point Villas, which is down the road the other way. We went to 3 different Cypress Points. We finally found it. But whew, what a journey. On the way home as well, there was a tornado and we drove through like the storm. I had no idea it was a tornado until we turned on the radio and they were telling people to like take cover. It was like hailing and pouring rain. What a time to be alive. Yeah. I got stories, man. I got them out the wazoo. I've lived a long 32 years. But I've only ever gone to Disney, not with kids. I went as a kid, but as an adult, I've only ever gone with other adults, which is a lot of fun, especially now that they serve a lot more alcohol. I don't think they served alcohol in the parks when I went. Yes, it makes for great dinner entertainment. Wait till I tell you about that time someone confused me for Harrison Ford. Yeah, Kim, super ancient. When I lived in Toronto, I went to school in Toronto, and I had been stopped on several occasions by people asking for my autograph, and I am very socially anxious in those types of situations. So everyone had always said that I should have asked them who they thought I was, but in this circumstance, you're very awkward and uncomfortable, and so you just say, "No, I'm sorry." So the one time we were at a cafe and someone asked me if I was in television, I said no. The guy thought I was like lying. He's like, "Really? Are you sure you're not in a television show?" I was like, "Yep, pretty sure I'm not in a television show. I would know." He was like holding a piece of paper, ready to get my autograph. Another time, someone stopped me at the Yorkdale Mall, which is a really big mall in Toronto, and asked for a picture. And I thought they were asking, it was a family. They asked for a picture. I thought they were asking me to take a picture of them because they were all wearing Toronto Blue Jays baseball hats. So I was like, yeah, sure. So I go to grab the person's phone. They're like, no, we want it with you. And I was like, why? Yeah, and then it happened again while I was in a store in my hometown. And I was with my best friend, and the one of the sales associates asked her who I was because she's like, "Wait, how do I know her?" And Jess was like, "Kate, how do you know her?" And I turned and I'm like, so do I know you?" Because I will forget. Like I've got a familiar face, but I'll forget if I'm friendly to people. She's like, no, it's fine. And Jess was like, I'm pretty sure that they think that you're someone else. So finally, we just decided, you know what? Let's put my face through a generator, one of those like celebrity lookalike generators, to see who I look like, because everyone was like, why haven't you ever asked anyone? It's because I was so nervous. So we threw my photo into a celebrity lookalike generator, and the celebrity that according to this generator, very credible resource, said that I looked like Harrison Ford. So gonna throw that one on my resume. I'm hoping that it's like Indiana Jones Harrison Ford and not like Harrison Ford now. But, you know, just the usual. Yeah, so that's my story of a mistaken identity. But anyways, it is almost 11:30, so I think I'm gonna end the stream now. But I had so much fun talking with you ladies. This was so much fun. Yeah. My flowing locks of golden hair. My flowing golden locks of hair. Yeah, I'm gonna think end the chat, or end the stream. I'm gonna get back to reading this because I need to know what's gonna happen next. But I am streaming again tomorrow morning, so I'll be here at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then again at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you guys are free, wanting to pop in, feel free to pop in. It's just gonna be chill and relax. So yeah, thanks you guys both for joining me. This was so much fun. Thanks, guys. Bye.